Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. All right. Can't even be that long. You know, I really should just run upstairs and grab my charger cord. I just looked at my phone. I thought I had it plugged in all night. Apparently, I didn't. And I got like 29%. So hold it 1 second while I run and get my charger cord because my phone is about to die. I don't know at what point during the night that it got unplugged. So 1 second. All right, people, hold on. Okay, sorry. I had to get my charger. My phone about to die. Like, I don't know what happened. Okay. Yeah, like, whew, I don't know. Maybe they were putting the furniture in with it. I don't know.
But they told us not to do that.
Exactly. I don't know that they followed directions or it's that company that came. Darn it. Best Robert, Best Robert. All right, y'all, this is kind of crazy. I'm going to have to do it like this today. Okay. I had to sit inside my little thing because with my charger cord, it's not staying up straight and it's falling over. So, glad I had this little planner right here. The who? Yeah. So if you get my laptop and click and go to Eva, it's already saved in there, so just click on it. All right, y'all. Sorry, got a couple things going on this morning. Okay. All right. Happy Tuesday, people. Happy Tuesday. It is April the 7th, 2020, day 117. Hey, we're in a day of preparation. You need to prepare all your food early. If you're celebrating Passover, I would highly recommend y'all keeping y'all's command by celebrating Passover. Because at sundown, we begin a Sabbath day, meaning no working, but our food should be prepared by then so we can eat. Remember, it's a memorial feast, and it's to be eaten before midnight. The next day is also a Sabbath, so we got 2 Sabbaths back to back. Wednesday, because Wednesday begins the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Remember, the first day and the last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread are Sabbaths. So technically we got 1, 2 this week, 1, 2, 3. For the rest of this week, we got 3 Sabbaths, and these Sabbaths for these feast days, Yahuwah are in addition to the regular weekly Sabbaths. So we got 3 Sabbaths this week, today, starting at sundown, Wednesday, and the regular Sabbath, Friday at sundown. The next week, the last day of Feast of Unleavened Bread begins Tuesday at sundown and ends Wednesday at sundown. And also you have that Sabbath, the regular weekly Sabbath, Friday sundown, Saturday sundown. But I'll be reminding y'all. So just remember, today at sundown begins Passover. And if y'all have not read Exodus, I would highly recommend y'all go read it. Get familiar with the story. Everybody should know it. Even if you don't watch 10 Commandments, you should be familiar with the story, y'all. Okay, so, and I'm gonna be quick today. I ain't gonna really run my mouth. I'll be posting enough. 1 Chronicles 14, 15, and 16, y'all. That is our reading for today. Okay. Now Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David and timber of cedars with masons and carpenters to build him a house. And David perceived that Yahuwah had confirmed him king over Israel, for his kingdom was lifted up on high because of his people Israel. And David took more wives at Jerusalem, and David begat more sons and daughters. Now these are the names of his children which he had in Jerusalem: Shammua, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon, and Ibhar, and Elishahu, Eliphat, and Nogah, and Nepheg, and Japhia, and Elishama, and Belida, and Eliphalet. And when the Philistines heard that David was anointed king over all of Israel, the Philistines went up to seek David, and David heard of it and went out against them. And the Philistines came and spread themselves in the valley of Rephaim. And David inquired of Yahuwah, saying, Shall I go up against the Philistines, and wilt thou deliver them into mine hand? And Yahuwah said unto him, Go up, for I will deliver them into thine hand. So they came up to Baal Perazim, and David smote them there. Then David said, Yahuwah hath broken in upon my enemies, and my hand like the breaking forth of waters. Therefore they called the name of that place Baal Perazim. And when they had left their gods there, David gave a commandment, and they were burnt with fire. And the Philistines yet again spread themselves abroad in the valley. Therefore David inquired again of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah said unto him, Go up not after them, turn away from them, and come upon them over against the mulberry trees. And it shall be, when thou shalt hear the sound of going in the tops of the mulberry trees, that then thou shalt go out to battle, for Yahuwah is gone forth before thee to smite the host of the Philistines. David therefore did as Yahuwah commanded him, and they smote the host of the Philistines from Gibeon even to Gezer. And the fame of David went out into all the lands, and Yahuwah brought the fear of him upon all the nations. Okay. First Chronicles chapter 15. And David made him a house in the city of David, and prepared a place for the ark of Yahuwah, and pitched for it a tent. Then David said, None ought to carry the ark of Yahuwah but the Levites. Hey, boom! Remember what we was talking about yesterday? Remember what we was talking about yesterday about Uzzah? Listen, right here. Of course, it had it before, but I'm gonna just read it again. Verse 2. David got it, and he reminded him. Then David, verse 2, 1 Chronicles chapter 15. Then David said, None ought to carry the ark of Yahuwah but the Levites, for them hath Yahuwah chosen to carry the ark of Yahuwah, and to minister unto him forever. And David gathered all of Israel together to Jerusalem to bring up the ark of Yahuwah unto his place, which he had prepared for it. He got everybody in order. And David assembled the children of Aaron and the Levites, of the sons of Kohath, Uriel the chief and his brethren, 120. Of the sons of Merari, Asaiah the chief and his brethren, 220. Of the sons of Gershom, Joel the chief and his brethren, 130. Of the sons of Elipham, Shemaiah the chief and his brethren, 200. Of the sons of Hebron, Eliel the chief and his brethren, 80. Of the sons of Uzziel, Aminadab the chief and his brethren, 112. And David called for Zadok and Abiathar the priests, and for the Levites, Uriel, Asaiah, and Joel, Shemaiah, and Eliel, and Aminadab, and said unto them, Ye are the chief of the fathers of the Levites. Sanctify yourselves, both ye and your brethren, that ye may bring up the ark of Yahuwah of Israel unto the place that I have prepared for it. For because ye did it not at the first, Yahuwah made a breach upon us, for we sought him not after the due order. So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to bring up the ark of Yahuwah, the God of Israel, and the children of the Levites bear the ark of Yahuwah upon their shoulders with staves thereon. And Moses commanded according to the word of Yahuwah. And David spake to the chief of the Levites to appoint their brethren to be the singers with instruments of music, psalteries, and harps and cymbals, sounding by lifting up the voice with joy. So the Levites appointed Heman the son of Joel and his brethren, Asaph the son of Berechiah, and the sons of Merari their brethren, Ethan the son of Cushai, and with them their brethren of the second degree, Zechariah, Ben, and Jaziel, and Shemiroth, and Jahiel, and Uni, and Eliab, and Benaiah, and Messiah, and Mattathiah, and Eliphaleth, and Micniah, and Obed-Edom, and Jeiel, the porters. So the singers Heman, Asaph, and Ethan were appointed to the sound with cymbals of brass, and Zechariah and Aziel and Shemiramoth, and Jahiel and Uni and Eliab and Messiah and Benaiah with psalteries on Alamoth, and Mattithiah and Elipheleh and Micniah and Obed-Edom and Jael and Azaziah with harps on the Sheminith to excel. Sorry, I'm screwing up the names, y'all. And Chaniah, chief of the Levites, was for song. He instructed about the song because he was skillful. And Berechiah and Elkanah were doorkeepers for the ark. And Shebaniah and Jehoshaphat and Nathaniel and Amasai and Zechariah and Benaiah and Eleazar the priest did blow trumpets before the ark of Yahuwah. And Obed-Edom and Jehiah were doorkeepers for the ark. So you know how you know how when they dropped off the ark at Obed-Edom's house after Uzzah was killed, and it said Obed-Edom was blessed for the entire 3 months that he was there. Why? Because he was a Levite. It was in the care of one who had who had been entrusted with the care of the ark by Yahuwah anyway. So if you hadn't picked that up, that's why he was blessed. He was a Levite. And it came to pass when Yahuwah helped the Levites that bear the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, that they offered 7 bullocks and 7 rams. And David was clothed with a robe of fine linen, and all the Levites that bear the ark, and the singers, and Chenaniah, the master of song, with the singers. David also had upon him an ephod of linen. Thus all Israel brought up the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah with shouting and with the sound of the cornet and with trumpets and with cymbals and making noise with psaltery and harps. And it came to pass, as the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah came to the city of David, that Michal, the daughter of Saul, looking out a window, saw King David dancing and playing, and she despised him in her heart. Last chapter for the day, y'all. 1 Chronicles chapter 16. We got 43 verses. So they brought the ark of Yahuwah and set it in the midst of the tent that David had pitched for it, and they offered burnt sacrifices and peace offerings before Yahuwah. And when David had made an end of offering the burnt offerings and the peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Yahuwah. And he dealt to every one of Israel, both man and woman, to every one a loaf of bread, and a good piece of flesh, and a flagon of wine. And he appointed certain Levites to minister before the ark of Yahuwah, and to record, and to thank and praise Yahuwah, the God of Israel. Asaph the chief, and next to him Zechariah, Jael, and Shemiramoth, and Jahiel, and Mattithiah, and Eliab, and Benaiah, and Obed-Edom, and Jael with psalteries and with harps. But Asaph made a sound with cymbals. Benaiah also, and Jahaziel the priest with the trumpets continually before the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah. Then on that day David delivered first this psalm to thank Yahuwah in the hand of Asaph and his brethren. Give thanks unto Yahuwah. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the people. Sing unto him. Sing songs unto him. Talk ye of all his wondrous works. Glory ye in his holy name. Let the heart of them that rejoice seek Yahuwah. Seek Yahuwah and his strength. Seek his face continually. Remember his marvelous works that he hath done, his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. O ye seed of Israel, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is Yahuwah, our God. His judgments are in all the earth. Be ye mindful always of his covenant, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, even of the covenant which he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and have confirmed the same to Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant, saying unto thee, I will give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance, when ye are but few, even a few, and strangers in it. And when they went from nation to nation, and from one kingdom to another place, he suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved the kings for their sakes, saying, touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. Sing unto Yahuwah, all the earth. Show forth from this day unto his salvation. Declare his glory among the heathen, his marvelous works among all the nations. Let me just bring out something we mentioned these yesterday. Remember how I was telling you that people a lot of times take scriptures out of context? He said, touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm. He's talking about Israel. If you're talking about if some true injustice is truly being done and it's the son and daughter of Jacob, then it may apply. But you don't, and even the people or the prophets or the teachers or the pastors themselves, they might try and get in a pulpit or something or wherever they are and defend themselves and say, remember, Yahuwah said, touch not his anointed and do his prophets no harm. You might as well just go on and sit down somewhere, because he probably not even talking about you, because Yahuwah's prophets and stuff, they don't even defend themselves. Yahuwah just come in and do what he needs to do when he needs to do it on their behalf. So when he's talking about it, he said, and he explained it right here, said, touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm. He was talking about his people, the sons and daughters of Jacob, the children of Israel. And remember, those who come from other nations, who decide to put away all their other gods and join themselves to the God of Israel, they also become Israel. They become, like the New Testament terms, that they become grafted in to the family, to the vine, to the olive tree. They become grafted in, they become Israel. Although they weren't blood-born descendants, they've chosen to put away everything else and serve only Yah. And Yahuwah says they are to be treated no different from blood-born sons and daughters. They get the same blessings, but they also get the same curses. You get in and start acting a fool, you get your tail toe off, just like one of the sons and daughters will get their tail toe off. So, yes. Chill out. Hold on to it for a second. I'm almost done. I read that again. I read 21, started 21. He suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved kings for their sakes. He's talking about Israel, the entire nation, all the people of Israel, saying, touch not, walk back upstairs with a drum. I'm almost done. Saying, touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. Saying unto Yahuwah, all the earth, show forth from day to day his salvation. Declare his glory among the heathen, his marvelous works among all the nations. For great is Yahuwah, and greatly to be praised. He is also to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the people are idols, but Yahuwah made the heavens. Glory and honor are in his presence. Strength and gladness are in his place. Give unto Yahuwah, ye kindreds of the people. Give unto Yahuwah glory and strength. Give unto Yahuwah the glory due unto his name. Bring an offering and come before him. Worship Yahuwah in the beauty of holiness. Fear before him all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it may not be removed. Let the heavens be glad. Let the earth rejoice. And let men say among the nations, Yahuwah reigns. Let the sea roar, and let the fullness thereof. Let the fields rejoice, and all that is therein. Then all the trees of the wood sing out at the presence of Yahuwah, because he cometh to judge the earth. O give thanks unto Yahuwah, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. And say ye, save us, O Yahuwah, God of our salvation. Gather us together and deliver us from the heathen, that we may give thanks to thy holy name and glory in thy praise. Blessed be Yahuwah, the God of Israel, forever and ever. And all the people say, Amen, and praise Yahuwah. And he left there before the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah Asaph and his brethren to minister before the ark continually, as every day's work required. And Obed-Edom and their brethren 68. Obed-Edom also the son of Jeduthun and Hosa to be porters. And Zadok the priest and his brethren the priests before the tabernacle of Yahuwah in the high place that was at Gibeon, to offer burnt offerings unto Yahuwah upon the altar of burnt offering continually, morning and evening, and to do according to all that is written in the law of Yahuwah, which he commanded Israel. And with them Heman and Jeduthun and the rest that were chosen, who were expressed by name, to give thanks to Yahuwah, because his mercy endures forever. And with them Heman and Jeduthun, with trumpets and cymbals, for those that should make a sound, and with musical instruments of Yahuwah. And the sons of Jeduthun were porters. And all the people departed, every man to his house, and David returned to bless his house. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. If you keep seeing me reaching over like this, is because My phone was about dead and I didn't even realize it this morning. You know, I was listening to the Bible. I was in the shower and pulling myself together, but I hadn't checked to good morning, auntie, top of the day, betwabu, betwabu. I didn't think to check the battery, but I just plug it in, sit it over my nightstand or whatever. But somehow during the night, and it's probably one of my kids that came to clam into the bed with us, they must have kicked the cord or something. I don't know how it happened, but when I got down here and I hit live, I checked my battery and it said I was on like 29%. I'm like, because I'm always on 100% when I come down here. I'm like, what? So if you came on earlier and you saw it, just an empty chair sitting here, because I realized that after I went live, and I said, give me 1 second, people, while I ran to get my charger cord. So I ran upstairs, got a charger cord, came back down. So that is our reading for today. That's 1 Chronicles 14, 15, and 16, y'all. Day 117, Tuesday, April the 7th, 2020. Like I said at the beginning, I just recap what I said. Today is a day of preparation for Passover, which begins at sundown. All right. If you're not familiar with what Passover is, y'all, go back and read through Exodus. As a matter of fact, everybody, just about it, unless you're an essential worker or you're being hard-headed or your job hasn't closed down, you're supposed to be in the house anyway. And this was by divine appointment, y'all, this time. So go through, spend all this time today, the rest of the week, because after tomorrow at sundown also begins the first day of unleavened bread, which is also a Sabbath. Tonight is a Sabbath, and tomorrow is a Sabbath. So we got 2 Sabbaths back to back. And if you're familiar with like the Jewish community, they call them it just depends. They call them high holy days, you know, because it's a Sabbath. But Yahuwah tells us that it's a Sabbath. Each of the feast days are a Sabbath, but the longer feast days, like unleavened bread, which we're going to go in tomorrow at sundown, the first day, and the last day is a Sabbath. They're to be treated like regular weekly Sabbaths in addition to the regular weekly Sabbaths, right? So like I said, we got 3 Sabbaths this week, starting tonight at sundown. Tomorrow is a double Sabbath. We got 2 Sabbaths back to back. So if you prepared ahead of time, you already got these days off. If not, you just found out about it. Y'all be with you. You didn't know, you learned it. Just keep it as much as possible. And then we got our regular Sabbath, Friday at sundown. But then next Tuesday is the last day of Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is the 7th day. It's a 7-day feast. And that ends it, and then, you know, the regular Sabbath at the end of the week, you know. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Within these next 2 weeks, we got 5 Sabbath days. So you literally rested almost a whole week, you know, doing absolutely nothing. No work days at all. So I hope you understood what I said there. Also, with the Feast of Unleavened Bread, it's also found in Exodus. Made a marinade for our lamb. Hey, okay. My lamb already seasoned, girl. I'm about to... I'm debating what I want. I think I'm going to put it in a crock pot. I'm putting it in a crock pot. I'm going to start it here as soon as I'm done. It's going in a crock pot. But make sure, according to it, all of it is supposed to be eaten by midnight tonight. If you season the lamb and it's too big, you don't think your entire household going to eat it all, cut off whatever you think ain't going to be eaten, put it in the freezer early before sundown. That way you ain't got to worry about it. Ain't nobody got to be stuffing themselves, you know. So with it, you're supposed to have lamb and bitter herbs. Different people say different things, but bitter herbs, we're going to do like a green salad, a spring mix salad with ours. And I'll probably do like maybe some baked potatoes or maybe some mashed potatoes or some side like that. I don't know. Somebody mentioned some macaroni and cheese. I'm married to your first child, so it'll be going by. So, yeah, you right, Tara. Yeah. He gonna be waiting for sundown. So, but yeah, you start eating, guys. Remember, Passover starts at sundown. I know some people they do it like 6 p.m. But we're in the springtime hours. Sundown doesn't begin at 6 p.m. Wait till the sun goes down before you begin to eat your Passover meal. I'm just saying that's what it says. So when the sun goes down, everybody get to the table. Let's eat. You know, just. Y'all ain't got nothing else to do anyway. If you ain't going to work, talk, have family conversations. But I would recommend, since it's Passover, talk about it. If you don't really know, break out Exodus, and that's what we do. I just go through why they eating, or I'll eat a little bit, and then I'll just start reading. Then we'll just talk about it, because kids have questions and stuff. But we are to do this so we can model it before our children. When do we? I would do it before sundown, Tara. Like if you go back, I'm not sure if you're at work today. I know you're with the blood. It says before sundown, Tara. Everything has to be done before sundown, before the sun goes down. Remember, because if you remember the story, in the story of Passover, and that was something that was required to do. You know how, okay, if you go through, just go read it, y'all. The plagues that come. Now, everybody was affected by, I think it was the first 3 plagues. Everybody was affected. Egyptians, everybody who was in that land, and Israelites alike. But there came a plague where Yahuwah made a separation, and he let the entire world know that these are my people. These are not my people. Not that they couldn't join to us and be his people, because you could. He gave the record. If you want to, this is how we live. We live clean. He's not just going to if you invite somebody into your house, you lay down some ground rules. Okay, you can't walk through my house naked. There's other people living here. Don't leave your stuff laying all around my house. Things like that. We expect you to keep your body clean. We won't expect you to walk around here stinking, musty and stuff. You make sure you flush the toilet, wash your hands, things like that. Same thing for Yahuwah and his people. He requires us to be a clean people. He requires us to eat clean. Yes, baby girl. What? You're eating. Where's your brother? Okay, all right, y'all. I'm still in the middle of Leviticus. I'm trying to read myself. Where are the plagues at? In Exodus. Okay. So if you want to read about the feasts, and I'll post it under here. The feasts are found in Exodus, Leviticus, and the other Numbers and Deuteronomy. But Leviticus 23 sums up all the feasts together. That one chapter, Leviticus 23, condenses all the feasts. That's where you find it there. That's the go-to chapter for all the feasts, including the weekly Sabbath. Also, for Exodus 4, read the whole story. Start at Exodus 1. Exodus 1 to... Okay, it was it. Okay, let the people go. It's about 13. No, because they chasing them through the water in chapter 14. Okay, so I say chapters 1 through 15. It gives you the whole Exodus story. So, you can read it in one day, or you can read it throughout the week of unleavened bread and everything as well. Like I said, unleavened bread starts tomorrow night at sundown. And remember, unleavened bread, that represents how the night after Passover, because Yahuwah, he said, when you eat the Passover meal, everybody's to be fully dressed, have your staff in your hand, and he said, eat your meal in haste, because it represented them leaving out of captivity the next day. And so that's why they baked bread, but they weren't staying in Egypt long enough to give the bread a chance to rise. You see? So they ate unleavened bread. Yes. They ate what? Hold on, baby. I'm almost done. They ate unleavened bread for the whole week. That's why we celebrate the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because it commemorates our actual exodus out of, or our ancestors' actual exodus out of Egypt. Because, they bake bread and all that stuff. So, but he said, let's roll. It's time to go. So everybody, they grabbed their stuff and they were out, and they followed Moses, where Yahuwah led them to go, So, but it's good. Get familiar with that story. Even if every night y'all read a section of that, it'll give you the whole story. Get really familiar with it. That's what we do, Yes, Bella. Okay, don't put that in there. Is there more apples in there? Or that's your toys? Okay. All right, so I think that was it, y'all, because she already started. I told her brother, Jeremiah, to keep her upstairs for a second, but she got past him. He probably didn't doze back off. So I think that was it. Yeah, start at Exodus, and you can go all the way up to the end of the 15th chapter to give you the full Exodus story. But I wouldn't say, if you're not familiar, read the whole book, because you can learn about the shenanigans, why they were in the wilderness and all that stuff, So with that being said, beautiful people, oh, that's what I want to say. The yeast. Also, this Feast of Unleavened Bread, all this week, we're not supposed to have any yeast products in our home. So if you haven't eaten up all your bread and all your snacks with yeast and stuff in it, get it out on the table, on the counter, and let your kids go ham. Just let them eat it. If y'all can't, if it's too much and you can't consume it all, give it away if it hasn't been unopened, or throw it away, people. You know, I would say, I would keep to you, and this is me, simply because I'm a stickler for rules, and I don't like getting in trouble, you know. So I like to stick to stuff as much as possible as I understand it. So Scripture tells us that during this week of unleavened bread, there's to be no yeast found in our homes. Matter of fact, in another place it said, during this feast, there shall be no yeast found in the land of all my people. But since we only have control over our own households right now, and our own businesses and our vehicles, we should be diligent to make sure our homes are cleared of yeast from the things that we can control during this feast of Yahuwah. You know, so just read the ingredients on the back of stuff if you're not sure, and then do away with it or eat it. You got till sundown. You know, there are some things that are like leavening agents that you have to combine it with other stuff for it to get that effect. I'm not 100% sure. That I'm honest about, because I've been looking places. Some people, they just err on the safest side and they just get rid of all of it. You know, they get rid of there's like baking soda and baking powder, and that's the two, because I have both of them here, and I'm like, I haven't really thought about those before, but somebody asked me about it. But shucks, and Father forgive me if it is. And for these last couple of years, I've been having baking soda, baking powder. I didn't realize somebody brought it to my attention, but this year I think I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to just chuck it. You know, y'all willing, I'll just buy some more baking powder and baking soda later after the feast. Jiffy cornbread. I have Jiffy cornbread and it doesn't have yeast, so does that count? If it doesn't have yeast, but it doesn't have yeast, I think, I don't know. I haven't read the back of it. Read it, Tara. I think it's the egg that causes it to rise. I would need to read the back of the box, Tara. Read the ingredients. You know, if you're not sure about some ingredient, Google what it is. You know, Google is really good for that. Google the ingredients to make sure there's no, you know, I don't think the corn, based on me making cornbread sometimes without eggs, it doesn't rise. It's like a flat cornbread. So I don't think the Jiffy mix in itself has any yeast in it, because it will not rise. Whatever the level of that wet mix is in your pan, if there's no egg in it, it's going to stay that level. It doesn't rise. But if you put egg in it, it will rise. Egg is not necessarily yeast, but when you mix it with the milk and stuff, it causes it to rise, but there's no yeast, so I think it's safe. Yahuwah specifically said yeast, you know. So I was packing it all up. Had yeast. I was packing up all the stuff that had yeast in it. Yeah. So if you're not sure, read it. That's why some things, if I'm like really iffy about now, I can't. If I'm like, Father, yeah, you know, and if I don't hear an answer from him, I'll do away with it until afterwards. I just don't like taking chances with stuff, you know. So some people are like, too meticulous, but we're supposed to be that way in our life anyway, and it represents the sin. It represents us, like us going through our house, meticulously going through our stuff and the seasons and ingredients. It represents us and going inward, looking at our own lives. What's the problem? Jeremiah won't open the door? Go tell him I said open the door and let you in. Go tell him I said let you in. Okay, you want to give me a second? I'm almost done with the video, and then we'll go upstairs, or I'll cook you something to eat. You just chill for a second. Oh, she's doing a motion, y'all, so we gotta hurry up. Yeah, so but it represents you turning inward, looking at your life. Hold on, you know what? Go upstairs, baby. Go. We're not doing this. Go. Yeah, hush. You gotta go stand here and just whine. Okay. There she go. Y'all hear it run off. Little girls, first thing in the morning, act like she woke up on the wrong side of the bed. She mad because Jeremiah, he won't let her back in the room. But anyway, it represents us being meticulous, going through our house, pulling out the yeast products, things that have yeast in them, so we could be obedient to the command. It represents us turning inward, looking at our lives, considering our ways. What shouldn't be there? We need to get rid of stuff, so that we can keep Yah's commands, that we don't defile ourselves and we can walk clean and pure and upright. Yahuwah said, be holy because I am holy. Be set apart because I am set apart. You are my people. You are my bride. I expect you to be clean like I am clean. Granted, he helped cleanse us up and stuff, but there are some things we have to do. Faith without works is there. You can't just believe yes, but still going on living like a friggin' pig. You can't do that. There is a part you have to play in this relationship with Yah. He said, meet me here and I'll get you the rest of the way. So he lays out those instructions for us, and they are not hard. His commands are not hard. They are not grievous. That's why we're reading through the Old Testament, so people can see, because most people just read in the New Testament and they have no clue how to live it. All they get is the yes. All they get from the New Testament, all they get from the New Testament is yes, I got faith, name it and claim it, I believe it. Not that that's the only thing that teaches, because it says, if you love me, don't just profess your love me, but keep my commands. Those who love me, keep my commands. Where are those commands found? Back in the Old Testament. Let's see what they say. Yahuwah say, I am merciful, I am compassionate, I change not. But somehow something started around the way that the God of the Old Testament is a wrathful God, and I'm like, where do you get that from? Yes, he was a wrathful God. If you came to you, was messing with his people, just like don't come messing with my house, don't mess with my children, just like any parent would do. Any spouse, don't come for me and mine. And that's how he is. Granted, there's also correction when we out here acting a fool. You can't live in my house and do what you want to do. So and that's why we're here doing it. I'm like a pillar post in a community. We here constantly. Let's just read. That's what we do. We just read through it. And it's something that's been taken out of context over the years, or things that I know is constantly being taken out of context that people don't necessarily understand or have been taught wrong about it. I'll bring it out, because everything here, most of what's here, it gives you the interpretation right there. Like I said, one of the famous chapters that's taken out of context is in Daniel, and about the final kingdom that rules and reigns and stuff, and the interpretation of the Son of Man. It gives you the interpretation of who that Son of Man was in the verses that follow it. It said this. It goes on. It gives you the description of who the beast was. The different beasts were. 4 different beasts. And it said, we saw one who rose like the Son of Man and came and took the rule and reign. But if you go down further, they said, here is the interpretation thereof, Daniel. The beasts are the 4 kingdoms, meaning there are multiple peoples, not one animal or one person. It's a kingdom full of multiple people. And the one who looked like the Son of Man are the saints who rose up and took the kingdom and ruled forever with Yah. It wasn't one person. It was the kingdom of Yahuwah's people. They are set apart to be the rightful rulers upon the earth, because they walk in righteousness. They live their lives in righteousness. They walk with Yah so they can learn the ways of righteousness and right ruling and how to treat people. So all this time they have to stick with these laws, rules, and commands, because if you're going to rightfully rule with the king, if he's going to give you cities to rule over and provinces to rule over, you have to know how to rule. You have to know how to rule righteously. And that's why Israel must return to Yahuwah's commands. If you don't return to his commands, you become a vagabond in the land, and you lead people astray, and you cause them to sin, just like all the kings of Israel and Judah who were uprooted, because they caused the entire nation of Israel, of Yahuwah's people, to sin and turn away from him. So now a once righteous nation has become a horror in all the land. Repent, Israel. Repent, Yahuwah's people, and return to his commands. All right, y'all. So with that being said, we are done. So go ahead and read the blessing. What a blessing found, y'all. Right. Numbers chapter 6. Verses 22 to 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. That's what Yahuwah said. He said, you put my name on them like this, and I myself will come and bless my people. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I love you. Finish preparing for Passover tonight. Remember, it's going to be a Sabbath. The next day is going to be a Sabbath because it begins the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. First day, last day of Feast of Unleavened Bread are Sabbaths. No work days. Prepare your meals early so you can rest. All right, y'all. With that being said, we done. I love you. See you. Oh, I should have addressed this. I was about to say it. Okay. Because we rest on Sabbath days, y'all. I won't see you again until... I won't see you tomorrow because we start the Sabbath Passover at sundown. And the next day goes into a Sabbath. I will not see you tomorrow. I will see you Thursday morning. All right? I'm glad I caught that. So, I'll see you guys Thursday morning. Peace.